It's absolutely my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you, our esteemed mentors. So, friends, we are here to discuss a topic that's not just shaping the future.
I was trying to log into my email account today morning. So this is the onset of artificial intelligence, which has started taking the roots and roles into what we do and whatever we do today. Since we know that a lot of foray has been made by the artificial intelligence and also the machine learning, as we grow in the subject, we'll be able to see that it may not really be necessary for us to even program the uh, uh, the the uh, the technology systems. That would be to say that in case if you actually go for searching a particular thing on, say, for example, artificial intelligence, which is chat GPT, so to say, you are trying to do, you are trying to write a particular sentence. So when you do that, the next sentence that you write, because most of the times, in case if we understand and if we see a little deeper, we would have given permissions to most of the applications what we download onto our systems also has a feedback mechanism. The system is able to now look into what has been asked as much as the intelligence has been built into the system. The system, these type of chatbots don't learn on their own, but they only function onto intelligence which has been casted and built for them. But the aspect or understanding of this AI or this type of AI is that it may surpass the human intelligence. Expression of the machines like humans, and then only this particular thing would fructify. We've been talking with regard to machine learning, which is a subset of artificial intelligence. And the learning also facilitates or enables you to improve over a period of time. Natural language processing, or NLP, which is again a subset of AI, which is nothing but the understanding of the human language by the systems as if it was you sitting on the other side for the system to understand. It starts learning from your expression, behavior, and I'm sure all of you would have heard that there is a sentiment analysis which happens on any conversation that you have with a call center. So this sentiment analysis is nothing but understanding of your language by the system in case if you are infuriated, in case if you are dejected, if your voice is, the system today is building onto the capability of even understanding what is there in the system, which have the decision-making capability of a specific domain which has been built into them, and they'll be able to even respond to or kind of help you. So the system keeps on assessing, learning, improvising onto the information that is being collected by the system in the shape of a lot of data. If you have to demarcate between algorithm and programming, because I have made use of these two things, and I find it, whereas for programming is nothing but a sequential code which is written there. So we are looking at the data which is fed into the system and understood by the machine, like more human, with every cursive iterative loop which is being completed here. A lot of directions which are being assessed by the people at large, by the machine at large, and then eventually it gives or reflects a lot of decision making to us. For example, the customer segmentation or anomaly detection, specifically with regard to while we are looking at a 360-degree view on a customer and the frauds which would happen across all channels within the bank. When I say all channels, it would mean that the mobile banking, the internet banking, the credit card systems, the core banking systems, and you name a system, and all of them would create a 360-degree view on a customer. You actually keep on informing the system with regard to whether the decision or whether the information or the trends which have been casted, what is generally being done today for stock trading by the bots. So we keep a lot of information or feed a lot of information with regard to industry, understands what is the entry point and also understands what is the exit point. So this stock trading bot is doing nothing except understanding and assimilating whatever is the knowledge in the mind of people, in the mind of traders, in the mind of investors, and then they start behaving like them. So this is nothing but the reinforced learning or type of machine learning. The machine learning enables the machine to learn from the data. If I have to look at artificial intelligence and machine learning, they are becoming essential tools now for strategic decision making. The speed at which the data is ingested has not been there earlier. Earlier, it used to take huge amount of time in case if I had to have an organization-wide report, which actually impacts their market positions, which actually, builds, creates, or substantiates their risk postures. Now, before I start this, let me also tell you two things that decisions that are generally strategic are complex and are multivariables. It is not only one single variable which determines the outcome, but there are plethora of variables which will have to be ingested before a decision is being provided. As and when there is a change in economy, technology, or the kind of requirements by the organization. If the organization's strategic area is, for example, growth strategy, if you look at the credit risk management, that is another core area where AI and ML is being used. What is going to be the NPS? So we project and look at the NPA provisioning, which could be required, and we can also look at the sectoral exposures, which are being today made use of decision making, which are strategic decisions to be done by the CXOs, the whole-time directors, and the board, and also needs a lot of input from the which is structured, and will also learn or also identify some patterns which probably have not been very structured, but are making waves within the assessment and data direction. So it generally kind of reveals opportunities which are hidden, these structures which can avoid or help reducing the kind of the. So while we simulate different business scenarios and outcomes, so the system helps in what if analysis. Even here, the simulation could go wrong because our presumptions were wrong. So much would depend on what are our presumptions that have been casted into a scenario planning, what are the attributes that we have seen, what is the strength of data on which we are training, etc., etc. So that will determine what will happen in case if I go for my for bringing about an optimal strategy. Personalization at scale can happen, which improves the retention and engagement. There are some variables, some figures that I'm going to discuss in next few screens just to augment the viewpoint, right? So there is also a fraud management where the anomaly detection happens. So the State Bank of India uses the AI insights. So the State Bank of India picks or finds out that information and reaches out that person, saying that in case if he was eligible and if he was wanting a type of a loan, and if there was any issue and challenge, and they would help them. So most of the banks are doing that today now. All or spending only on one resource, or spending all resources on only one type of outcome, one type of display. The accuracy and consistency reduces the bias and errors in the judgment using standard data models. For example, the MSME industry is kind of looking at the type of loans, keeping in view the festivity, the inventory management would across board or for a specific segment of people who are claiming, bring about kind of optimize the type of product outings that are expected to be handled. So instead of asking people, they would ask and look at the reactions. So you have to be very, very particular by making use of all this AI opportunity and bring about a lot of perception on this. And then in case if you don't, then we'll ask later Arvindji to make any announcement if in case if he has to make. So this helps augment the underwriting, which never misses the critical points. The fraud prediction has become one more big area, which helps banks to prevent type of threats which can be perceived. Similarly, we look at the intelligent compliance, which offerings, which results into a better customer relationship fructification or customer, a kind of lead. So this is the way the artificial intelligence today is helping banks to improvise on the overall. They are new to bank or new to credit. So those customers are being assessed on alternate data. And from there, they are being now kind of projected or provided with the products which can be used by them or offerings of the credit being made by the bank to them. which earlier was difficult, and the program which is behind this, and the regulator can today look at the kind of compliances of the banks, put no semblance on course, and look at better cash management and ensure better availability across various different platforms. Simply you get an indication in case if you would like to convert this transaction into EMI, to understand, to implement. So it becomes good to have the expandable AI now. So there is one more branch of AI which is emanating today, which is kind of helping banks on various complex insight onto their problems. But what is important is that the AI should not really be let loose as is. However, it should be under some control of a strategic leadership so that you are able to identify what is the direction the AI is taking the organization to. And any use of the data for any other purpose will be contravening the kind of direction. Since the structured data is what we have, but in case if we don't really have investment for you have to see as senior or top executives, we are expected to. So we'll be able to have a better absorption in the banking, in the society. And we must also look at creating some small pilots to understand or correct the challenges, biases, and other issues so that we can scale it up on an enterprise-wide transformation process. We have to look at institutionalizing the decision making within the organization by repetitively training that model.
Not just as a technology, but as a core strategic asset for every banking leader. So for all the attendees, if you have a question, please use the raise hand box feature in Zoom, or you may just type your question, or you can just unmute yourself and I will know that you want to ask a question, and I will ask you to come on stage and ask the question. You can ask without starting your video also, but it will be better if you start your video so that you can be visible to others also. So friends, go ahead and ask your questions.
Good afternoon, sir. It is really a great presentation, but because of some personal reasons, I could log in quite late. But whatever slides I could see was very interesting. In fact, I am very much interested in this subject. Are they available in the market? And if yes, from where they have done their courses? Because it's otherwise also a new subject.
See, what happens is that nothing comes, in all lock, stock, barrel in one shot. Today, we are talking with regard to an assistive models now where the artificial intelligence is being used. Right? Yeah. But in case if you are looking at a full-fledged model, and yet to find a university which is only offering something only for AI is not there. So today, the recruitment which happens is from the perspective of technologists who understand this domain and then eventually grow along with it.
So just to add to what Soni sir was saying, sir, the AI subject is not that new. Of course, it has developed a lot since then, but we have all been a part of that evolution.
I'll wait for Rao sir to come back. In the meanwhile, Mr. Surendra, one more thing. If you see oversized, overseas universities today are offering the courses on business, intelligence.
Because of large language models and NLP, they are able to read your text instead of catching the words.
And how much is the machine going to help me in that? And whether, so three things will have an interplay and look into this. So the subject is growing. Yes. It's written by a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist.
Despite the age profile that we were having, we learned all that.
Right.
So AI also will learn.
That's the direction in which it is expected to be handled. DPDP also says the same thing. You can't really let out the private information of anybody to public at large so that he becomes or she becomes identifiable, right? So anything brown skin was being rejected because that was not in the overall charter of this direction and decision making. So that's the training which is expected. So be very fair in what you do. And also, while you're handling with bots, don't share any specific personal information unless it is very, very necessary, mandatory to solve an issue. the time for which the data can be shared, until when that can subsist, exist, etc., etc. So everything, has to be adapted by the AI. So not specifically anything for AI. As I said, AI governance model or regulation is yet to come specifically for AI. However, the IT Act, the DPDP Act, everything will have to be taken into cognizance for creating this sort of a enablement with regard to your artificial intelligence.
Well, first and foremost, to our esteemed speaker, Shri Sunil Soni ji, for his clear and sincere thanks to all of you who attended today's session and made it a wonderful session. And friends, the learning does not stop here. For all our club members and everyone who registered for this webinar, please keep an eye on your inbox, and iPhone users and iPad users can also access that.